Welcome back everyone to Dungeon Brew. Today we're going to be talking about the cursed gods in the world of Dheghom, which relates to the crowdfunding campaign that we are about to release in September through Dungeon Brew through BackerKit. So, what these cursed gods are coming out of Japanese mythology. This is where we've essentially adopted this idea and added our own twist behind it. And if you're familiar with this, then you know that they are called the Tatarigami. Now, the Tatarigami are sometimes thought by the populace as being demons or cursed gods that bring on wrath and destruction and famine and all sorts of other negative inflictions on the people that inhabit the land, and that's exactly what these do as well. But the history of the Tatarigami and Dheghom is the exciting element that you can bring to your games. The Tatarigami are not born, they're created. They are the remnants of deities and spirits or ancestral guardians that suffered a wound and tore them away from their original purpose. It became violated in some way, specifically due to the industrial overreach of the steampunk world as it is progressing, and they are essentially having to respond in a way to that. Maybe a better way of thinking of it is the Industrial Revolution being a catalyst that is forcing them to evolve or change and become corrupted in this particular way. So one of the things that we are offering within the setting manual that we are releasing for Dheghom is a couple of tables. One of them is an origins of corruption. So as you are thinking about the type of Tatarigami that you would kind of throw at your players in a campaign, you can look at what the inciting incident is that led to their corruption, that pulled them away from their purpose. So some examples that we have on this table is the death of a creature, a companion, or a sibling that the spirit was tied to, left them unable to recover emotionally from that event. Perhaps there was a nearby conflict that spilled into the deity's domain, leaving them, wounded by maybe stray bullets or fires or explosions, or maybe the deity's followers are massacred and it feels as though it has failed in its purpose of fulfilling some sort of promise that it made to them. So we have a table of about 20 different options that you can utilize as an inciting incident for your Tatarigami that you would create within this world. Some aspect, again, of nature or an ancestral spirit that existed, that had a purpose that it was fulfilling, but then it was torn away from that purpose. So once you have determined the cause of the Tatarigami's corruption, then you can start talking about its core motivations. What drives it? And this thing is specifically going to be incongruent with its original purpose in many ways. John has created a chart again within this book that will break down some different options that you could utilize for core motivations. And you're going to see some similarities in this and even the video I did in regards to how you create gods within your world, because they fulfill certain archetypes. And what John has done is created 10 archetypes that you could utilize for your Tatarigami. These are things like being the prisoner, being the warden, being the shepherd. An example of that might be the shepherd. It collects these corrupted creatures to its domain to kind of build up this unified force, and then they have a coordinated pack then for defense or hunting, or even to wage a proxy war against the enemies. So for me, that's a really cool concept that you have this Tatarigami that is essentially collecting other corrupted animals and creatures and things that exist within the world to build its own army against people, right? So to wrap up, I want to give you an example of how you're going to be able to use these two charts to create a corrupted god, to create a Tatarigami within your world that you can use as a BBEG in many ways for your players that are adventuring through it, whether you're in Dheghom itself or in your own campaign world, because this is something that you can utilize not only in 5e but other systems or any campaign world that you're excited about utilizing. So I'm going to talk about Váttkorr. This is one of the Tatarigami that John and I have created, and you can see this artwork here, which we just love the way this came out. Váttkorr was a central Dwegar deity, and he was called the Guardian of Glismeri, a location within the world of Dheghom. And he was taking on the appearance of this giant Mata turtle. Well, his corruption came about when he was wounded. A nearby city, Kazar started pouring out chemical runoff and filth into this mountain lake that he lived within. And this, being in this cesspool of filth and disgust led him to turn into this creature that was just filled with rage and hatred, and he began taking it out on those around him. So this is how he was wounded. And as he started transforming into this beast that was just hateful towards all those that were around him, and so he started taking on certain archetypes, like the Blight, the Shepherd, and the Avenger. The Blight essentially allows him to actively warp the land around him and any creatures within his domain. The Shepherd we already talked about, where he's forming an army behind him. And then he's also the Avenger, where he is seeking vengeance against those that have corrupted his home. While he himself is stuck within this lake, we may find that he is oftentimes sending out his own minions, his own army, to exact revenge on those that have corrupted his space, his holy space that he had for such a long time period. So he's sending out his minions to attack those in nearby towns as his corruption is spreading throughout the land. And that is an example of how the Tatarigami can be created and utilized by using this book and this tool. And we have hopefully a very easy to use process for you to work through this chapter that we've written, and using these charts and developing your own corrupted gods or spirits or ancestral spirits that can impact your players and just add a lot of story to the world that you are playing within. And I have to ask that you go check out our BackerKit and just follow the page. There's no requirement at this point. We're just seeing who's interested in this project that we have created. And also go follow our Patreon, where we have lots of free resources for game masters like you, and snippets and sneak peeks into this book and the information that we are preparing for the crowdfunding project. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for all you do. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you again next time.
Judge